你而家收睇嘅係加拿大財經一號電視台。
家國地產發展趨勢，近期樓市最新動態。地產行業權威發布，眾多專家分析點評，盡在置業家國。Hello everyone, welcome to Real Estate Canada. Big change could lead Canada's housing market sliding even more. Another round mortgage tightening is coming up on the first day of 2018, and what some Canadians have saved up to start owning may not go far enough. And today we have a specialist in the studio to discuss this new mortgage policy with us. Hello, Stephanie. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's your first time joining us, so why don't you give us a brief introduction about yourself and your specialty is?
Okay. Well, my name's Stephanie Nause. I'm the founder of the Live Love Toronto team at Keller Williams. I've been in the real estate industry for 11 years, and my team specializes in condos and lofts, primarily in Fort York, Liberty Village, City Place, and kind of the central downtown core.
A lot of us know the interest rate had been increasing twice of this year, and it will be continually increasing by next year. But that's not the big impact we're going to talk about today. And we know there's a new stress test coming in the January 2018.
Yep.
So it has been all over the news for the past a month or two. So why don't you give us more detail about this new policy?
Yeah, sure. I think that's actually a great question, Jackie, just because we've had a lot of people asking us about it. There's a little bit of uncertainty. I think the thing to be aware of is a lot of purchasers, anyone who was putting down less than 20%, these changes already came out October 15th of last year. So a lot of those purchasers have already, especially condo buyers, first-time buyers who are putting down less than 20%, they've already been qualified this way. So they're not going to be impacted. This is kind of the second tier of the legislation that the government has brought out. And basically what they're going to do is everybody across the board now is going to be qualified, regardless of their down payment, 20% or not, on the posted rate, not the discounted or contract rate that they would get from the lender. So this is going to impact affordability and borrowing power because people will potentially qualify for less. Purchasers will still get the lower rate. What this is going to impact is the amount that they're qualified to spend, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, last year, you talked about it, we had this new stress test introduced, and then it has created a significant impact on the investors and home buyers. And why this new policy suddenly came out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is signaling probably that the lenders are expecting to be increasing interest rates. And if you've been watching the media, you see that Canadians have a high level of debt.
That's right.
And I think they just want to make sure that when people's mortgages come up for renewal, that they're going to be able to qualify, to make sure people aren't overextending themselves, and also with the property values increasing, a lot of owners, like homeowners, are borrowing against the equity in their property, either to make second and third investments or to fund a lifestyle. So I think they just are putting some regulations in place to make sure that there's no issues moving forward.
I don't know if I understand this correctly. If I have a mortgage with TD and if it's like locked down for 5 years, well, if this year I have to renew it, if I renew with TD, I don't need to do this or go through this stress test. But if I want to go to BMO to get a mortgage or renew my mortgage, get a new one, then I need to go through this one, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you're going to just be renewing your existing mortgage, likely it will just continue on the same. But if you wanted to switch and get a better interest rate, like let's say the interest rates are better than when you had initially signed on with your mortgage, you would have to qualify for the stress test.
That makes more sense that if people stay with their existing mortgage company, then why not to raise the interest, right?
Yeah,
if those people cannot leave,
I mean,
that's the government thought, right?
It's true. I think that some of those banks will maybe use this as an opportunity because they realize that some people won't qualify, to maybe increase the interest rates for people who are renewing, and also it is incentive for some purchasers to stay with their existing lender.
I'm sure with this current market situation combined with this new policy going to create a series of impact on investments, and what do you think about the effect it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think there will be an impact. You know, I think that we will see a bit of a reset in prices. I don't think that it's going to be as much as people, you know, are forecasting. You know, I've heard some schools of thought saying that it could be between 10 and 20% correction. I just feel it's not going to impact as many people as we think. Like, there's a lot of purchasers who have already, as we discussed, been qualified this way. And you know, investors that have deep pockets, or even people that have a lot of equity in their existing property, they're not actually borrowing as much, so they're not going to be as impacted as well. You know, and I think you and I had also discussed that there's factors that have been really fueling the prices increasing. So things like the economy, things like population growth, you know, buyer demand, those types of things. Once the dust settles and people realize that, you know, the sky isn't falling, I think that we'll actually see prices start to increase again as well. So people that are waiting for really massive like price decrease or drop, I don't know that they're gonna see that.
So what we can see is this new policy is going to be more impact on the first-time buyers or younger couples who just get into the career.
I don't think that they will see much of an impact, because unless they were needing, you know, to qualify at the lower rate to be able to afford more mortgage, right? So a lot of the first-time buyers, they're not putting 20% down for condominiums. If they're looking to purchase a property, like a freehold property, and you know, previously they were going to be getting some help from the bank of mom and dad, or going through B lenders to be able to qualify for the higher mortgage value, those people will be affected because the government has effectively closed that loophole for them. So we may see, you know, those people qualifying for less mortgage, which affects affordability, which means they can't, you know, they won't be able to shop in the same price range that they could previously. So we'll probably see those people trying to rush through to purchase now, the same as investors who maybe don't have, you know, those deep pockets that needed the lower interest rate to qualify for the price point for the type of property that they would be looking for.
I see.
Those are the people that are out shopping right now and are highly motivated to purchase a property prior to the new changes coming into effect January 2018.
So if we look at the current media headlines, we can see a lot of things like tighter rules obtaining the mortgage, or Toronto's housing market has been affected by the foreign buyer tax. And then we just feel like the government has been introduced new policies every other month, but didn't leave a lot of time for the buyers or people to have the time to respond. So do you have any clients that feel frustration about the new policy, or does it make a lot of people to make a purchase right away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I feel that the government hasn't signaled, you know, because I feel like, especially with respect to the foreign buyer tax, that there has been some discussion around that coming into place here since that happened in Vancouver. So I think that, you know, they have been having discussions around this happening. They just haven't let us know, like, firm timelines of when it's going to come into place. So, you know, I think people were kind of expecting.
Yeah, people always know this is going to happen, but they don't know, like, it's going to happen right away,
when
right?
It's going to happen. Like, I think it was really just a question of when. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely had some clients be a little bit frustrated. There's always going to be some purchasers who are a little bit more risk adverse, and they're going to be looking to purchase now because, you know, the devil you do versus the devil you don't. Their borrowing capacity is good right now. Interest rates are low, especially entry first-time buyers, because it's still better for them to purchase now versus renting. And there's always buyers that are going to wait on the sidelines to wait and see if prices are going to decrease, especially those that have deep pockets, and, you know, they're not going to be as impacted as much by the new legislation and the new rules that are changing. It's not going to really impact them coming into the new year, so there may be an opportunity for those purchasers to kind of speculate a little bit and wait and see what's happening with the prices. So we really have two camps of buyers right now, and it's interesting times in the real estate market.
Yeah, also we noticed the renting market has been really competitive recently, and then the market is going crazy. Does this new policy going to drive more to the market?
Yeah, I think it will, and that's another reason why investors may want to consider purchasing now, especially if they are going to have an issue qualifying for the mortgage amount that they're going to need moving into the new year, because if less purchasers are purchasing, then that means more people will be renting. And if more people are renting, then that's going to drive up the average monthly rents. And because the prices have escalated at the levels they have, even though interest rates are low, sometimes it's hard for investors to have their monthly cash flow, like for the numbers to make sense. So as rental rates go up, it will actually be beneficial to investors from a cash flow perspective.
Well, I believe it's the combination of this new policy or the past year's stress test and the higher rate of interest. A lot of younger people are driving them to buy condo instead of townhouse or townhouse instead of the detached. So do you think this is still a good time for investment to buy investment property, or what do you think about the condo market?
Yeah, well, I mean, the condo market has, that's a great question. The condo market has certainly fared better than, in the last few months since the fair housing market policy has come into effect. Over the last few months, we've seen significant decreases. The detached and semi-detached, like detached especially, has taken the bulk of the hit. Condos have fared a little bit better, and again, it's just because of affordability. And interest rates being low, it's a good option for families. For investors, I would say, it's really going to depend on what their goals are. Like condos, there's always opportunities in every market, I guess is kind of what I'm trying to say. So, as we discussed before, even if prices do come down a little bit and less people are purchasing, more people will be renting. That will definitely increase the rental prices, which will make it easier for investors to have their cash flow and the numbers make sense for the purchase.
That's correct.
And I think that investors that need that lower interest rate to qualify for the mortgage amount they need will likely be wanting to purchase right now, so I would say it is a good time for them. Investors that have deep pockets and they're not going to be impacted at all by by the stress test happening in January, they may actually want to wait. If they, have the ability to speculate a little bit and wait and see if prices come down, they may want to wait. It's going to depend on their investment goals. And
Thank you so much, Stephanie,
thanks
for coming.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.